Okay. Well, everyone, welcome. Mike LaBelle here, and I'm joined by probably two of the coolest guys that we have in the pro rodeo world. The guy at the bottom of the screen, Brandon Thome, he is what's your title now with the Canadian Pro Rodeo Sports Medicine Team, Brandon?
I guess they call me executive director now.
You're an executive. Whew. All right. And one of the great athletic therapists we have, and beside me on the screen, and well, if it was the center square on Hollywood Squares, Dr. Blaine Bugg, who is the president of Canadian Pro Rodeo Sports Medicine. Welcome, guys. This is going to be fun.
Thanks, Mike.
So, you know, I've had it kind of a promo out on Facebook and on Instagram and asking people if there's anything they want to know. And some of the people that you guys call your friends, I'd speculate.
Me too.
So the first question that I got to ask, because I like to think of myself as a supporter of the Canadian Pro Rodeo Sports Medicine Team, and I've been to the annual golf tournament on a couple of occasions. From one great cowboy, now retired, and does this little gig at a small rodeo in downtown Calgary. I'll let you guess who it is. He asks, both of you are great golfers. Why can you not win your own tournament?
Blaine? We're not allowed.
We're not allowed. We're too polite.
You're what?
Too polite.
Too polite. Brandon, what's
too
your
Canadian
excuse?
We're not allowed. You can't win your own golf tournament.
You can come in second a few times.
Wins your own golf tournament is Keenan Vine.
Yeah.
Now, he was obviously the clutch player and the ace on the team.
Yeah. No. He got lucky. He got asked to be on that team and ended up winning. He's not a bad. He's not a bad golfer.
He was not golfer.
He was not the ace in the hole, if it will.
All right. Well, you know, something else that you guys have done with Keenan, and I happened to be there to announce it. If we roll the calendar back a couple of years to downtown Cochrane, Alberta during the Labor Day long weekend, the two of you, Blaine and Brandon, along with Keenan Vine, were the 2018 Cochrane Wild Cow Race champions.
Yes, sir.
We were.
Yeah.
Now,
Keenan was the ace in the hole in that one.
He might not have been the ace in the hole in the golf tournament, but he's definitely the ace in the hole there for sure.
Oh yeah. All-star. Yeah.
No. We had that. I promised Keenan that I would tell the full story.
Okay.
So the year before, in 2017, I embarrassed myself. I was an absolute terrible anchor. And we actually ended up winning that year. However, we couldn't accept it because we didn't win the right way.
No, did you cheat?
Keenan may or may not have pushed a guy down, used him as a stepladder to ride their cow.
Yeah, it was a foul. It was an arena foul.
But they gave us the win anyway, but we couldn't accept it. So we had to come back in 2018 and redeem ourselves, and I think we did.
Oh, there it is. That.
Yeah.
There's the hardware from the big win.
Yeah, my kid wears it proudly.
Blaine and Keenan didn't have to redeem themselves. I did.
All right.
So we retired as champions, in case you were wondering.
And not Scott Byrne retirees either. Like we're not doing it again.
No, you're done.
Yeah, we're good.
That's the end. We'll see.
Yeah,
okay.
That second year that win was mostly Keenan.
Yeah.
We slowed her down, and he was able to be quick and agile and jump on her, and away we went. So.
Well, hey, he's agile. I mean, you watch, yeah. He's got the workouts going and hiking, and yeah, he's got it going on.
And he's 130 pounds, so that helps.
And he was with the wind, so it was good.
He was with it, blew him on.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. As he jumped. Yeah.
All right,
worked good.
I'm good with that. So let's take it to a serious note. The Canadian Pro Rodeo Sports Medicine Team was a vision of two guys that hang around and don't want any glory but still get a lot in Dexter Nelson and Dale Butterwick. And if memory serves me correctly, they started this out of, is it fair to say, a station wagon or the trunk of Dexter's car?
Yep.
Is that
Trunk
how
of
the story
Dexter's
goes?
car.
So from there, we've grown to, how many trucks do you guys have now?
Go ahead, Blaine.
We have 3.
3 trucks. How many trailers?
We have 3.
3. So from the trunk of a car to 3 trucks, 3 trailers, and the number of volunteers you guys have on board. Now, whether it be athletic therapists, chiropractors, massage therapists, doctors, surgeons, dentists, everyone, how many people would be members of the sports medicine team?
With our direct members, probably
Yeah.
70.
Holy cow.
That doesn't include all of our orthopedic surgeons and sport med physicians and other, physiotherapists and acupuncturists and different, psychologists that we utilize across Western Canada. That just includes the members that go straight to events.
Yeah.
So yeah, direct members, there's in and around somewhere in there. And then, we have doctors and physicians and orthopedic surgeons and psychologists and physiotherapists that we work with across Western Canada.
You can probably double that.
Yeah. Now, you guys, here's an interesting question I got via Messenger today, and it said, what made you 2 guys get into the sports medicine end of things?
I'll let Blaine go first.
Because Blaine, you're a chiropractor, a doctor of chiropractic by trade.
Yeah.
Where did the sports medicine thing come into it?
Well, I was pretty lucky. I kind of knew early what I wanted to do. My old man responded really well to chiro, and even though he never competed in the rodeo, my great uncle did. My dad created a lot of his own rodeos on his own, and that he called it hunting. But a lot of times there was 10 to 12 miles of equipment and saddles and cameras on the way back to camp, because he would maybe last 8 seconds or maybe wouldn't, and then he'd be pretty busted up, and the chiro would help him out. So I think I was 8 or 9 years old when I decided that I wanted to be a chiro, and then it was just a natural fit. And I knew the saying I had back then was, I think I'm going to try and fix these guys rather than try and be one of these guys. And
I'm going to call that safe.
Yeah, until I pulled an idiot move and decided to do a little research after I was a chiropractor and decided to get on and learned that there was a new classification or a different classification, and that's just a chute opener or a follower offer. And that's what I fell into.
You fell into that role?
Yeah.
Hey, it's
great experience.
It's okay. Not everyone can be a cowboy.
Yeah.
Some of us have to be doctors or therapists or announcers at the end of the day, because the whole cowboy thing just doesn't work for us. Now, Brandon, how about you? What drove you to the Canadian Pro Sports Med team?
My family has a ranch in southwestern Saskatchewan. I grew up in Medicine Hat, but I spent a lot of time down there, and I had a lot of friends that ranched and rodeoed, and I was going to athletic therapy school actually at U of C, where Dale was teaching, and Dexter, I was fortunate enough, Dexter was one of my profs, as well as Dale and Mark Lefebvre at the time, at Mount Royal and at U of C. And interestingly enough, Dale kind of pulled me aside one day, and he knew that I had an interest in, the Western way of life and that sort of stuff. And he asked me if I knew how to drive a truck and trailer. Yeah, I've been doing it since I was 14.
Yeah, exactly.
And he said, well, do you have any interest in helping us work rodeo? And I said, I never really thought about it, but yeah, sure, I'd be interested. And I went to one performance at Rodeo Royal that year in 2003, I think it was. And that next summer, I was driving to Grand Prairie on my own by myself to go work the rodeo. And the rest, that was in 2003, and the rest is history. So I credit Mark and Dale and Dexter for getting me into it for sure. And then, once you're in it, everybody knows. All my best friends now are, I barely talk to anybody that I grew up with, outside of my good buddies. And all my best friends now and most of my family now are in rodeo. So it's tough to walk away and another kind of driving force behind it all.
Yeah. Now, you talked about I'll call it your apprenticeship by fire, if nothing else. You guys have both been to a ton of different rodeos, a ton of different bull riding, some great places. Is there one rodeo that you've gone to that you would say, wow, like that was a good time? This is the rodeo I'd like to come to every year as part of the sports med team. Blaine, where would be that one place for you?
That's a tough one because you almost have to kind of pick one rodeo based and then one bull riding based, just to be fair.
Hey, I'll let you pick 3.
Oh, great. Rodeo wise, I gotta say Calgary. That one, just walking in there when it's full and it's a sunny day in July, there's nothing like it. It's pretty awesome. As far as bull ridings, I think my favorite that I got to do more than once is Prince Albert. It just feels right, and especially after the tie thing, like the way that the Clooney family and the Byrne family kind of just make that feel that much special. I think that's the one that hits home for me.
Perfect. How about you, Brandon? Obviously, you're kind of out there and I'll say in the lead on events, if you will. You doesn't matter where you go, Brandon's going to be there.
I don't know if there's any that I haven't been to. I'm like Blaine. You gotta pick a bull riding and you gotta pick a rodeo because I think they're just different. For me, at the end of the day, I agree with Blaine on the Calgary Stampede thing, only because if I did mention them, Keenan would kill me. But honestly, to be quite honest, I used to, and Dexter and Blaine actually used to tell me all the time that how bad Lee Park used to be.
It's terrible.
It was awful. And the only reason that they told everybody how bad Lee Park was is because it was awesome.
Yeah,
and they didn't want anybody ever to sign up for it. I remember going there the first time. And you got the golf course right there, and it's just a large time had by all. And the weather could be the absolute worst, and you're still going to have a good time with that rodeo. The committee's fantastic, and you can give honorable mention to all the committees. I think they're all great, but I like Lee Park. I always have. For me, in the last little while, Teepee Creek has been really good. I think they've been doing lots of sweet things up there too. And bull riding wise, I agree. PA is really good. Lethbridge PBR has gotten huge and it's fantastic. But the one for me that I really like on the PBR kind of bull riding circuit is McGrath. The Bearsy family, what they do down right there at their place, it's super cool. It's at night, it's under the lights, and same sort of deal. If it's crappy outside, which it normally is in September, you can still have a really good time, and the atmosphere is just, they pack that place, and it's a charity deal for usually, cancer fighting, kind of something along those lines, and for some family. And I really, really like going there, and I've kind of made it my mission to kind of go there for the last 3 or 4 years, and hopefully we can keep going.
No, and everyone kind of attracts to different things. And I can remember years ago going to rodeos, and when the sports med team used to go to Cloverdale, and it was kind of cool because you'd finally see them pull in with their trailer, and it was kind of them and Ricky's trailer, and you'd see all sorts of other stuff, and that was pretty cool. You're in a pretty neat setting there, so it's some great memories.
Clover, it's so hard to pick, right? You bring up Cloverdale, and then I talk about Under the Lights, and I go right to Armstrong, and I remember one time I laughed because it actually, Facebook pops up memories.
Yeah.
Well, it popped up a memory the other day. Every 3 or 4 years, I would have to drive from Cloverdale to Grand Prairie because Cloverdale ended on Monday and Grand Prairie slack started on Wednesday. So I had to like beeline it straight from Cloverdale straight up to Grand Prairie. And it was funny because the West Coast Amusements and Ricky Ticky would go from Cloverdale to Grand Prairie those years. And we'd just like, it'd just be like the big train, sports medicine, the West Coast Amusements, and Ricky Ticky Wanchuk. And we were training all the way to Grand Prairie.
Well, so you got to live the life of a carny for a short time.
That's right. I didn't want to use those words, but yeah.
Oh, I don't mind. I
Yep.
don't mind at all.
The carnies, the clown, and the sport bed guys. We were heading up there. We were going.
Quite an interesting group.
Ricky bought me supper or brought me breakfast one time in Grand Cache, maybe.
Pierogies and what?
Vodka.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, I get to visit with you guys probably the most at either at Calgary or at the CFR, where I'm there doing media stuff or doing what we do. And it's great to see you guys, you know, obviously what you do is super serious. The care and the effort that you guys put into the Cowboys and Cowgirls is great. But to see you guys in your downtime and having some fun, you know, obviously you can't let a ton of secrets out or tell stories. But you get into that sports med room and there's some fun people. I guess of all the practitioners that are in there, who would be the biggest jokester? That's quite a grin on your face. Is
I'll
it
let
him?
I'll let Blaine answer this one.
Oh no, I think he's hanging himself right now. It's working out pretty good.
Yeah, it's.
I like to have fun. What do you want?
Hey, it's all. We just got to mention your haircut. What happened?
Well,
Weed whacker.
yeah. When the barber shops don't get to cut hair for a while, they like to get used to their clippers again.
Like that's tight and bright.
Oh yeah, we got our ears way lowered. Absolutely. I tried on my cowboy hat. It doesn't even fit.
What?
Well, it does. It probably just goes down to about here.
Yeah, hangs down.
Yeah.
Hangs down.
Yeah.
So I got a question from a great supporter of your golf tournament. And his name rhymes with John Winwick.
That's fair.
He says, Brando, I need to know what is your real handicap. I get the feeling you've been sandbagging on a few rounds. Is there a possibility there?
No, so when you asked about why we don't win our golf tournament,
Yeah.
I play on the team ATB financial golf team.
Yeah.
And Winwick, he always expects me to play better than I do usually. So I think he's trying to actually find out whether or not I'm actually an 8 or if I'm a 15. But
right.
I'm a good scout. See, we have our tournament set up a little different. It's not just a straight scramble. I'm a great scramble player because I can be real bad or I can be real good.
On the same hole.
Oh yeah, on the same hole.
All over the place.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if he wants to know, at one time,
Yeah.
when I was 18, my handicap was 2. My handicap now, I barely ever play, is probably a 14.
All right. So you're a sandbagger. Perfect. Just as we all thought.
Fair.
All right. I'm not going to let you off the hook, Doc. Our good friend, probably the fastest feet inside the Stampede Arena, Monty Phillips, wants to know, you actually know the seatbelt regs in Calgary, Alberta?
I didn't at the time when the story happened, but I've learned a little.
Maybe you'd care to elaborate, because you seem like a law-abiding citizen. I mean, a doctor of chiropractic, a father, a good husband, someone that's respected and looked up to, and what the hell happened?
Safety went out the window. How about that?
No, it's just all good deeds go punished. Group of guys were sitting around. They wanted to go for dinner, and I was going to go home. And I'm like, hey, how about I give you a ride? Wouldn't that be nice? Problem is I have an older vehicle that predates seatbelts, and only 3 people could fit in it.
Yeah.
So there's a box in that truck, and a debate started about whether you could ride in the back of it. And the last time I rode in the back of the truck, I was about 14 years old. So I'm thinking it's still legal and it's all good. And I think it was Scott Way that just eyeballed me down, and he goes, "No, it's not." And I'm like, "No, I'm pretty sure it is." And I won him over. I just, it was a poker deal kind of thing. I just looked him over. He's like, "Okay." So next thing you know, we pile them all in, and middle of stampede, paddy wagon pulled us over, and they had to walk.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing Brandon worked at the university
And
his
knew one of the
student
partners.
ended up being one of the officers that pulled us over.
Well,
Oh, we'd already won her over with charm.
Brando, you're not out of the woods here, pal, because the same person asked me if this is strict medical consultation. Is kicking a bullfighter between the knees a medical practice?
Yes.
Yeah.
We had to make sure they were there.
All right. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Now, for those of you that don't know, the bullfighters probably, would you say, an hour before the performance, maybe 45 minutes. Most of them find their way into the sports med room, get their ankles, knees, get their body parts taped back on before they go out. Is that a fair assessment?
Yep. Some of them show up long before, an hour before, but the majority of them are an hour to an hour and a half. Yeah.
All right.
Some of them get taped from head to toe, and some of them just get a thumb taped.
You have this sheepish grin, like there's more to this story. I just got to ask about it.
There's just a few guys that are injury prone, and there's a few guys that aren't, just like in any sport.
All right.
The guys that are injury prone have to take more care of their bodies.
Treat your body
and as they get up in age, it becomes a little bit harder to keep everybody together.
Doc, that look says that there's a little more to this story, but maybe we'll save that for later. I don't know.
I don't know what he's talking about. I think he's just digging himself a grave.
Well, he could be. Yeah. He could be. Yeah. So in the sports med room, you guys see the bullfighters we've talked about. You see a ton of the bareback riders. That just goes without saying. None of the bull riders. Bronc riders are on their way in. The timed events, a lot of steer wrestlers, and things lean off. I guess, and I don't want to give out anybody's hidden secrets or, throw anyone under the bus. There's one guy, whether past, present, whatever, that's kind of the most needy person when they come into the sports med room.
There's a few.
Look on his face, Blaine.
There's a few.
I just think they're social, Mike. They like to come in and chat, and so they've learned that we could do more with them. That's all.
Huh.
Yeah. I did have a few guys like that though when you work like with professional teams and stuff.
Yeah.
But there are guys that just like to come in. It's a fun place to hang out.
Good place to hang out. I mean, I remember, I think it was last year at the CFR. If Caleb Bennett didn't see me, I was gonna get some, get some sticky tape and stick it right to him because there was a lot to rip off there.
Caleb is one that likes to come and hang out.
Yeah.
He's got good stories.
He's a needy one, but he likes to come and hang out. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Now, both of you guys, I'll call you veterans of the sports medicine team. What have you seen in sports medicine from the time that, say, you started, Blaine, till now? What are the changes in not only the Cowboys, but things that you do, and I guess the procedures and the way that everything's received on the pro rodeo and bull riding trail?
I think probably, like, I started in '96, and a lot of the Cowboys, they didn't really change their lifestyle much. They just kind of came in and utilized us when something was hurting. And somewhere along the lines, they started taking care of themselves like a professional athlete. And it wasn't, I'm not saying anything against the older Cowboys, but they were usually ranchers that rodeoed. So it was just second nature for them to keep doing what they're doing. But somewhere along the lines, in every one of the events, they've escalated what they do and perceive themselves as a professional athlete. So what I love about working with the team is when they come in, they're educated. They know what's going on with their body. They know what they need. They know what we can do to help them kind of get more out of their event. And a lot of them know that injuries are going to happen. So it's not a matter of if, it's when. And they want to know how they can almost prehab themselves through an injury that's coming up. So I would have to say the way that they approach it is different. There's a lot to the historical perspective of the ones that went and climbed on and then kept climbing on. But now the ones that treat themselves like a professional athlete, and that's the lion's share of them, that's the greatest thing I've seen change.
How about you, Brandon? We look at the sports medicine, especially you, the athletic therapy world, and things have changed. It has become what I would consider to be big business now, whereas before you kind of looked at, oh, I need a trainer to tape me. Now this has evolved.
I think, I mean, in rodeo, and I mean, I've worked in just about every professional sport. I think the biggest thing in rodeo that changed it, in my opinion, is that the guys like, you know, I'm not going to put Bobby Moat and Tough Cooper in the same kind of like era, but those types of guys that they became like they were an athlete, like they were a bareback rider. They weren't a rancher, or they weren't, you know, Tough Cooper is a tie down roper. That's it.
Yeah.
And so now they're, you know, when those types of guys start winning, then all these young guys coming up go, well, what's Bobby Moat doing? What's Jake Vold doing? What's Tough Cooper doing? How are these guys excelling at the top of their game? What's Shane Hanchy doing all the time that he keeps winning? And when they start examining what these guys are doing, and they're working out and they're honing their talent, and they're eating right, and they're not just going and crushing a, you know, 24 pack of beer on their way to the next rodeo, it changes, because if you want to keep up, you have to keep up. And I think that was a big change. And then coupled with, you know, the nattering of all of us in the trailers telling them to, you know, that we want you to do this and you should do this and this is how you can do this. It all kind of finally came together. And then that kind of coupled with, you know, the business of it. And as Blaine was talking, I was kind of thinking about that too. And, you know, guys don't want to donate their money just to donate their money just to get on anymore. You know, so it's a different thing. It's a business now. And, you know, if I'm going to go, you know, if I'm a young guy and I'm going to try to go and compete against Brock Radford, you know, or Logan Bird or Tanner Milan for that matter, and they're at their top of the game and I'm a little bit hurt, what's the point of even, you know, unless I'm 100%, I'm not going to beat those guys.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the business side of it's also, and I think everything's just kind of come together, and now it's, you know, it's a crying shame that we're so far behind a lot of those other professional sports, because I think a lot of these athletes are, you know, can compete at as good as anybody in any professional sport. They're just good at what they do. And I'm hoping at some point in time that we can get to where the rest of them are, just based on, you know, how it's kind of going.
No, and that's exactly it. You guys are a huge cog in that wheel, keeping guys going down the road. And I'm going to dive a little deeper down the rabbit hole if I can. And I'll go to you, Blaine, with this of the sports medicine team travels down the road, and we talked about it earlier. 3 trucks, 3 trailers, 70 practitioners that can travel with the team, and at least that many on the back end, you know, doing work. This doesn't happen, you know, for nothing. This isn't free. You know, there's expenses that go with this. Support-wise, who are some people that you guys would like to thank? Who are some people that you guys would, you know, would be longtime supporters? And, you know, where can people find a place to help donate to this cause?
I think there's quite a few things I got to answer in that one. I think kind of just historically, we got to start with the committees and the contestants themselves. Like they started seeing value in us. The committees, the long-standing ones that have had the sport medicine team there and they believed in us, they've been great advocates of getting other committees to understand our value and to get us at their rodeos. The contestants, we've gone to a model, how would you put it, Brandon? We have a model now where there's multiple people that are helping create our budget to get us down the road, and so they got stakes in it. It's the contestants, it's the committees, and then we have a large group that have been involved for a long time on the fundraising side. We're a bunch of practitioners, so we're not really great at that fundraising stuff, but like the ladies of Pro Rodeo, for the long time, like they've been our longest standing fundraiser with that CFR event that they have with the ladies luncheon. The ski race for a long time was able to get some funds in. The golf tournament, since it's reached its what are we, year 3, year 4?
5.
Year 5. It's turned into a wonderful culmination of some fundraising and being able to celebrate the sport med team. So there's too many to mention, but we have a multi-user model and a multi-stake model, and it's been an evolution over time. But we do have some very long-standing individuals and committees that they knew who they are. They've been with us since the beginning, and they need special recognition for sure.
Awesome. Now, Brandon, if there's someone that's looking to become part of your support structure or have the ability to help you guys out somehow and don't know how to do it, what's their best way to get a hold of someone?
Yeah, I'll answer that in 1 second. I just want to add one more that Blaine kind of didn't look over but missed, was the Edmonton Benevolent Foundation. John Windwick and Laura Godowski and that crew has outfitted us. I mean, they've outfitted us with 2 trucks and 2 trailers.
3 trailers.
3 trailers, I guess. Yeah. So they get a huge shout out amongst everybody else. But as far as getting a hold and, wanting to help out, we're lucky because we have we rely on the backs of volunteers. We're going to say volunteers. We get a little bit of an honorarium, a little bit of a stipend to kind of help us offset some of those costs. But we have a structure in place that, we have an athletic therapy coordinator, we have a massage therapy coordinator, we have a chiropractor coordinator, we have, a volunteer set of executives, and then, or a board of directors. And then you got myself and our executive liaison, Sandy. You can reach out to anybody. Our website, www.pro-rodeo or rodeosportsmed.com. Sorry. There's so much information on there on how to get in contact with anybody. You can get in contact. The easiest way probably is at rodeoinjuries@gmail.com. That comes into me, and I can kind of send it out to where we need to go. We're always looking for people across Western Canada. Kind of the way that we find practitioners and stuff is by word of mouth. A cowboy will go and see a massage therapist in Brandon, Manitoba. They'll get talking about the sports medicine team, and they'll kind of want to, hey, well, how do I get it? If the rodeo ever comes out to Brandon, how do I get involved? And we kind of get them involved that way. And so it's kind of based on recommendations from cowboys, from committee members, from other members, in that kind of word of mouth way. But there's lots of information on how to get involved and where to donate if you want to donate, or where to donate your time or whatever, on our website.
Good. Now, I'm going to switch gears back again here because I got a message from another bullfighter. Your buddy, I think he's one of the, he's definitely a legend in the bullfighting game in Canada right now. Brett Manya asks, what hair products do you use, Brandon? Like, you must have some good hair products for him to ask that, eh?
He just wants to use them.
Oh, is that what it is? All right. So there's no secret to this?
No, you can buy it in any store. It's called Got to Be.
Got to be. Oh dear.
Been using it since my playing hockey days,
Did you have the hockey hair?
Oh, did I? Did I? See, the difference being is, most hockey guys,
Yeah.
have the flow. I'd curly hair, so it just went. I didn't have the flow. I had the fro. So way different. But I mean, it came out the sides of all the holes, and it just didn't come flying down the back of my back. That's all.
Okay, you were hot.
Got to be.
Perfect. So here's an interesting question. I've asked all the Cowboys this, and you guys put on as many miles as them. And Blaine, you got to travel with a bunch of different people on the sports medicine team over your years so far, and I'm sure there's many more. Who's the best person that you've traveled with driving down the road? Like they'll take their turn driving, or they'll drive the truck and trailer. And who's the one that's the worst that they get behind the wheel and after a half hour you say, get out of the chair, someone else needs to drive?
So we're throwing people under the bus? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, we're going right to it.
Oh, I think Matt has got to be the best. I think he gets a VIP. You would just put him in the driver's chair, and everybody else could do whatever, and he is just solid.
He's good.
He doesn't drink coffee.
Yeah,
but he'll drink half of a cup of coffee and be wired for 8 hours.
Yep,
no problem.
How about the worst?
Oh,
there's got to be someone.
I almost want to just kind of throw the whole massage therapy crew like right under the wheels of the posse wagon, because most of them kind of go in the back of the posse wagon and go to sleep. So I haven't seen many of them that'll jump up and take their turn driving. So
all right,
I know I'm going to get some grief for that one, but a lot of those 1 or 2 nights.
You're going to wear that for quite some time.
Yeah, well, they can prove me wrong. They can kick me out of the front seat. I can have a nap back there.
There you go. Yeah. How about you, Brandon?
Oh, the best one. I mean, he doesn't drive all that often. He will if you want him to. See, I like driving, so I'll jump in the truck and we'll just go. So more so, I like having co-pilots, like music guys. Oh, and Brian Boisvert, one of our chiropractic coordinator, he's got the best music selection going down the road all the time. It's like 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s country.
So he could take over for Jody Seeley or Ted Stoven at a rodeo any day.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people that he's going to make mad with his music selection, but I really like it.
All right. Who's the worst driver you've been with? Or are you not willing to step on that plank?
What about just going through drive-thrus? What about going through drive-thrus?
Oh. Yeah. We've had a few mishaps, if you will.
What
with individuals that don't normally drive trucks with hips.
Oh, dually fenders. They are a nasty mess on those yellow poles, aren't they?
Yeah. Take a truck through a Tim Hortons and wipe out a dually fender. That was good.
Who go ahead. Who? Throw them under the bus. Where are you going? I feel like it's a Blair Witch project.
I'm not going there. I was just sitting up straight. She was a longtime member of our team. She hasn't done much with us. Breed Lau hasn't been with us for quite some time, but we're hoping she'll come back here in the next little bit. But after I threw her under the bus, maybe she won't.
Now, this is kind of one of those questions you can but can't answer due to your, I don't know what you'd call it, your patient relationship. Has there ever been an injury that has, and I had someone kind of ask me this if I'd asked them, has there ever been an injury that you've seen in the infield that has scared you? Like, what the heck are we going to do with this? Or, because not many people realize this. I'll expand on it. You guys basically have a front row seat every rodeo you're at. If you're not in the trailer, you are at a gate. You are kind of standing at the ready if something happens to get inside that arena?
No, we're pretty much ready for everything. I do want to kind of have a spin-off to that, and we did kind of we created a rule that the bull riders were no longer allowed to wear seashell necklaces because maybe Brandon will remember, we had a bull rider that decided to headbutt a bull in the middle of a ride, and he had a pretty good ride going. And then next thing you know, it just looked like every single one of his chiclets just exploded through the air. And it was those stupid Hawaiian seashell necklaces. So we just kind of decided that for the fans and for our hearts, no more of those silly necklaces. So that's a rule we created-ish.
Well, there you go.
I would say there isn't anything that scares me. There was a bull rider at the Ponoka Stampede one time. That was the first time that it was early in my career, and that was the first time that I had ever seen somebody and get a positive test for a broken neck, like a broken bone in their neck. And I remember, I mean, you're prepared, but you're not really prepared for, you know, those tests to be positive. And when they are, you're like, oh God. And I remember thinking back to that going, I'm really glad I responded the way I did. Cause you're not, that was the first time I'd ever had a positive of those tests. And at the beginning it was super like crazy and scary. But when you look back and you kind of go through the whole thing and you know that everything was done right, since then, I'm not sure that there's been anything, you know, knock on wood. I hope that there's never anything that scares me because I've seen quite a bit. And if it does scare me, we're in deep trouble.
Yeah. I mean, you guys see, I'm going to call it the best of the worst and the worst of the worst. You know, you get inside that room and just about anything could happen. You know, and that's why when I put out my first Facebook post, I called you guys two of the kind of the unsung heroes. And there's many of them because what a lot of people don't realize, what some of the Cowboys see now as the sports medicine team, that relationship wasn't always there with the Cowboys. You know, it kind of took the pioneers of Canadian pro rodeo sports medicine a while to garner that respect and turn this initiative into something that I honestly don't know how we would live without it now. So, you know, in saying that, you know what, guys, our time's just about up. I know, Brandon, you got to get back to parenting because you have a young one.
No, Tori's doing a really good job over there in the park, actually. You got some more time? We can hang out here? I'll go pour another beer. I'll go pour another beer. We'll have another hour. We're good.
Exactly. Well, some of us, Blaine and I, have kids that have birthdays tomorrow, so we have important things we need to do. You can, you know what, have one for us and, you know, go hill the potatoes or something in the garden. How's the garden doing?
So far, so good.
You know,
I think it's grown in the past hour that we've been sitting here.
Well, I'm glad. Well, thanks a bunch for doing this, guys. Dr. Bugg, thank you so much. Brandon Thome, thank you. It's, I don't think we can ever thank you guys enough, and hopefully we get to catch up soon.
Thanks, Mike. It's been fun.
Awesome. Take care.
Take care.
You, buddy.